Good evening. You're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. 2 agreements are signed to develop Samail and Sohar industrial estates with 59 million Omani riyals. And the Secretary of the Ministry of Heritage and Culture for Cultural Affairs says Nizwa is the 5th global city recorded at World Tourism Organization. And the 3rd General Conference for Arab Trainers Unions recommends to create laws and legislations for training centers in Arab world. Good evening once again, and thank you for joining us. Those were the headlines, and now for the news in detail. The Public Establishment for Industrial Estates PEIE today signed 2 agreements to develop Samail and Sohar industrial estates in the presence of His Excellency Engineer Ahmed bin Hassan Al-Deeb and the Secretary of the Ministry of Commerce and Industry for Commerce and Industry and Chairman of the PEIE Board of Directors. More details in the following report.
The first agreement was signed with Larsen & Toubro, Oman, for infrastructure implementation in Samail Industrial Estate in Al-Dakhiliya Governorate, with a cost estimated at 39 million Omani riyals. The project comprises development of infrastructure facilities for Samail Industrial Estate over a total area of 753 hectares, divided into 548 hectares for the first phase and 205 hectares for the second phase. The agreement also states the implementation of roadworks of around 46 km length in the 2 phases. The second agreement was signed with Hassan Juma Bakr Trading and Contracting Company to implement construction works for developing the 7th phase of Sohar Industrial Estate at an estimated cost of 19 million Omani riyals. The project encompasses development of the 7th phase of Sohar Industrial Estate with a total area of 876 hectares. The project includes 36 km road adjustment and pavement, infrastructure services such as water lines, electricity and establishment of sewage plants. The strategic location of Samail Industrial Estate will attract the factories which are willing to expand close to the capital Muscat and to resale industrial estate. Samail Industrial Estate is an additional value for Al-Dakhiliya Governorate, which will eventually advance the development of the governorate and contribute towards boosting the national economy. Sohar Industrial Estate is located near to Sohar Industrial Port, which contributes in facilitating the import and export processes to and from various countries worldwide. In addition to that, the estate's location close to the GCC markets through a road network is also an advantage. Sohar Industrial Estate continues its efforts to attract more investors during the coming period through implementing a number of vital strategic projects, aspiring at enhancing the quality of services provided to the investors.
His Excellency Engineer Ahmed bin Hassan Al-Deeb and the Secretary of the Ministry of Commerce and Industry for Commerce and Industry and Chairman of the Public Establishments for Industrial Estates PEIE Board of Directors announced that the PEIE is studying to establish 2 industrial estates in the Wilaya of Barka and Ibri, adding that there are a number of requests under the evaluation by the establishments and some of them are under construction in all governorates of the Sultanate. The participants in the 3rd General Conference for Arab Trainers Unions recommend on the conclusion of the conference to create laws and legislations for training centers in Arab world. The conclusion ceremony presided over by His Excellency Dr. Saeed bin Khamisa Al-Ka'bi, Chairman of the Public Authority for Consumer Protection. The participant seeks to find mutual dominators and building factors to uplift Arab trainers according to a clear program and plans based on international theories and experiences. The 3-day event included the developing of qualified human resources and scientific curriculum for training besides governing training. At the conclusion of the conference, the chief guest honored the participants. Ways to raise labor issues through media means were the center of discussion at Associative Media Workshop. It stressed the role of media means in highlighting various labor issues. Experts from World Labor Organization took part in the workshop with the presence of heads of trade unions in the Sultanate. The Sultanate's general trade unions affirmed that several labor cases are still pending in some establishments. The workshop was held under the auspices of His Excellency Sheikh Hamad bin Hilal Al-Ma'mari and the Secretary of the Ministry of Heritage and Culture for Cultural Affairs. Nizwa is the 5th global city recorded at World Tourism Organization. This was said by His Excellency Sheikh Hamad bin Hilal Al-Ma'mari and the Secretary of the Ministry of Heritage and Culture for Cultural Affairs. He also added that the Wilaya will witness during November the attendance of ministers of culture in Islamic countries, marking Nizwa as the capital of Islamic culture for 2015. He also said that various events and activities will be organized during the year, pointing out that Nizwa Cultural Center will be opened this year. Nizwa Islamic Cultural Capital celebrated the inauguration of Culture and Art exhibition with the participation of 11 artists who create frescoes, carvings and sculptures. The inauguration ceremony was presided over by His Excellency Dr. Abdullah bin Nasser Al-Harrasi, Chairman of the Public Authority for Radio and Television. This exhibition, considered as one of the artistic model by artists to express their love for the country by narrating Omani glory with their colors and designs. You're watching the Sultanate of Oman television, and still to come in our news bulletin. The Ministry of Health launches marine ambulance services in the Governorate of Musandam. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. His Excellency General Sultan bin Mohammed Al Nu'mani, Minister of the Royal Office, received in his office today General Pierre de Villiers, Chief of the Defense Staff of France, within the framework of his current visit to the Sultanate. During the meeting, they exchanged cordial talks and discussed a number of topics related to the good bilateral relations binding the Sultanate and France. The meeting also touched upon a number of matters that contribute in serving the joint interest of the two countries. General Pierre de Villiers, Chief of the Defense Staff for France, and his delegation visited the National Defense College. They were briefed about the college and its facilities and modern equipment, which contributes in achieving the college message and its vision in preparing national leading cadres. General Pierre de Villiers, Chief of the Defense Staff of France, visited the headquarters of College of Command and Staff, where he listened to a presentation about the general approach of the college in terms of qualification and training. Then he toured the halls and classes of the college and looked at its modern information technology and its other educational facilities. Lieutenant General Ahmed bin Harith al-Nabhani, Chief of Staff of the Sultanate Armed Forces of the Sultan Armed Forces SAF, received in his office at Muaskar al-Murtafa today a delegation of the Command and Staff College in Egypt. The Chief of the Staff of SAF welcomed the delegation, which is being led by Brigadier Mohammed Abdul Mu'ti Ahmed, wishing them a successful visit. They exchanged viewpoints on a number of matters related to training aspects to serve the Command and Staff colleges in the two brotherly countries. The Shura Council office held its 10th meeting for the 4th annual round, chaired by His Excellency Khalid bin Hilal Al-Ma'wali, Chairman of the Shura Council. At the beginning of the meeting, the office held the joint meeting with His Highness Sayyid Fahad bin Mahmoud Al Saeed, Deputy Prime Minister for the Council of Ministers, and a number of their excellencies the ministers, commending the results that they were agreed upon concerning some coordination aspects between the two councils and other topics related to the work process of the public interest, such as economic diversity, supporting non-oil resources, creating work opportunities to absorb educational outcome in the job market. The meeting also reviewed the report of Education Committee and the scientific research about the desire proposed by one of the council members on the topic of inserting education majors in the Applied Sciences College. The office further discussed the report of the Economic and Financial Committee on the assessment results carried out by Rafd Fund, aiming to enhance the work system of the fund, in addition to reviewing the reply of Her Excellency the Minister of Higher Education on the topic of standards of admission in higher education institutions and provisions of scholarships for domestic and foreign educational institutions. Central Bank of Oman, CBO, announced the volume of remittances for expatriates in the Sultanate in 2013 amounted 3.5 billion Omani Rials, pointing out that these remittances in previous 5 years reached 13.6 billion Rials. According to CBO, the increase of expatriate numbers, especially in private sectors, while they reached in 2013 around 1.5 million workers. The Sultanate's population amounted to around 4 million people in the mid of year 2014. The population density in the Sultanate also reached 13 people per square kilometers, as per the Population and Development Report in the Sultanate, based on statistics issued by the National Center for Statistics and Information. The Ministry of Housing announced that the value of traded real estate contracts during the first quarter of the current year amounted to more than 1.3 billion Omani Rials. It pointed out that the collected fees for these real estate transactions stood at more than 13.7 million Rials, and the total real estate activity works amounted to more than 100,000 transactions during the same period. Sale contracts topped the list of these transactions with 280,000 Rials. Sale contracts in the Governorate of North Al-Batina recorded the highest rate compared to the rest of the governorates of the Sultanate. The Sultanate is participating along with 148 countries and regional and international specialized organizations in Milan Exhibition 2015, hosted by the Italian city of Milan. The Sultanate's pavilion in the exhibition embodies the civilizational and humanitarian achievements accomplished by the Sultanate under the reign of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos. The Sultanate's logo will tackle matters related to sustainable development. This international event contributes in showcasing the Sultanate's traditions and innovations. In addition to that, it also carries a message on the necessity of obtaining food, health and safety to all people on the earth. Oman Air announced its plan to launch new destinations to China, Iran, Bangladesh and Korea in a step to add new air routes to the national carrier of the Sultanate. It also announced that its fleet will be increased to reach more than 50 aircrafts during the upcoming 3 years. This came in a ceremony held for the launch of direct route between Muscat and Goa city in India, which is expected to achieve good economic returns for both countries through increasing tourism and commercial movement. A ceremony was held in Al Bustan Palace Hotel to mark the graduation of the 9th batch of Middle East College students, 452 male and female graduates holders of master's, bachelor and diploma in 18 majors, mainly engineering, technology, business and management. programs are celebrating their graduation who will join the job market. A number of Pakistani fine artists held an exhibition in the Omani Society for Fine Arts in Muscat under the auspices of His Highness Sayyid Mohammed bin Thuwaini bin Shihab Al Saeed. The exhibition entitled Colors Harmony. Promising investments opportunities were provided to local investors in the Special Economic Zone Authority in Duqm as the zone is witnessing an increase in economic growth. That was illustrated to businessmen in the Governorate of Dakhiliya in a seminar organized by the Special Economic Zone Authority in Duqm today in collaborations with Oman Chamber of Commerce and Industry Branch in the Governorate. The Ministry of Health launched marine ambulance service in Khasab port, which came within health projects in the Governorate of Musandam. The marine ambulance service is the first of its kind in the Sultanate, which will serve the citizens and the coastal areas in the Governorate. His Excellency Sayyid Khalifa bin Al-Mirdas Al-Busaidi, Governor of Musandam, presided over the launching ceremony. The project contained 4 boats prepared with the latest medical equipment to deal with emergency cases, in addition to 2 boats to transport staff's medicine and medical equipment. The ceremony included artistic items and poems as well as traditional dances. And now for the general weather forecast. Clear skies will prevail over the Sultanate with chances of dust in the Governorate of Al-Buraymi and Al-Dhahira. Winds along the coastal areas of Sea of Oman will be northeasterly light to moderate, while along the rest of the Sultanate it will be northwesterly moderate to active. Seas will be moderate along the coast of the Governorate of South Al-Sharqiyya with a maximum wave height of 2 meters, while along the rest of the coast it will be slight with a maximum wave height of 1.25 meters. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. 2 agreements are signed to develop Samail and Sohar industrial estates with 59 million Omani riyals. And the Secretary of the Ministry of Heritage and Culture for Cultural Affairs says Nizwa is the 5th global city recorded at World Tourism Organization. And the 3rd General Conference for Arab Trainers Unions recommend to create laws and legislations for training centers in Arab world. With that, we come to an end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, it's good night.